Alice Nizzy Nazzy, The Witch of Santa Fe, written by Tony Johnston and illustrated by Tommy DePaula.
Alice Nizzy Nazzy lived in the desert near the pueblo of Santa Fe. She was as old as rivers, as old as hills, as old as sandstone cliffs. She was so old and so mean. People said she was a witch. "Don't dare go near Alice Nizzy Nazzy," parents told their children, "or she will eat you up." Alice Nizzy Nazzy's adobe hut stood on skinny roadrunner feet. Around it grew a fence of prickly pear. Whenever she mumbled certain words to the hut or tickled its feet, the adobe carried her over the sizzling sand to find naughty children to eat. And wherever the roadrunner-footed hut went, the cactus fence went too. One day, a little girl named Manuela came by looking for her lost sheep. Their tracks led her straight up to the witch woman's fence. Oh my! When Manuela saw the strange adobe, she knew very well who lived there. Who but Alice Nizzy Nazzy had a house with roadrunner feet? Manuela wanted to run away, but not without her sheep. She peeked over the fence to see if they were there. "Go away, you nosy child," cried a prickly voice. "What a beautiful talking fence," Manuela breathed, though scared out of her wits. The fence was so pleased, it opened itself up, and she went in. Oh my! Manuela saw a pile of skulls and bones in heaps, but not a single sheep. She peeked through a window of the roadrunner-footed hut to see if they were there. "Go away, you nosy child," squawked a foul voice. "What a wonderful talking house," Manuela breathed. The adobe was so pleased, it opened its door, and she went in. She saw a cobweb hammock and dirty pillows everywhere, but not a single sheep. She peeked into the kitchen to see if they were there. "Come in, you nosy child," scraped a voice like gritty sand, and she went in. Oh my! There, sitting on a shelf, was Alice Nizzy Nazzy herself. Her face was withered as walnuts, and her skin was yellow as squash. Her eyes were red and beady and bright. Her teeth were black as night, and they snapped like mouse traps. Her hair was strings of chilies. Her belt was conchos, shiny as the moon, and her velvet skirt swished like water when she moved. Draped over her shoulder was a huge horned lizard. "Hola," the lizard said. "What a lovely talking lizard." "Gracias, Dolce Angelita." "Shut your trap," Alice Nizzy Nazzy snapped. "She's no sweet angel. She's a naughty girl." "I'm good," Manuela said. "I'm looking for my lost sheep. I followed them right here." "Dear, dear, dear," croaked the crone, sly as can be. "No sheep here, just some dirty old pillows." "You can't be good. You lost a whole flock. I'll have to eat you up." She cackled a cackle that could wear down cliffs and popped Manuela into the cooking pot. Oh my! The horned lizard groaned. "Ay, ay, ay." Though very frightened, Manuela looked around. In a corner, she saw a cupboard with a face of a giant mask. "What's in there?" she asked. "Ah," said Alice Nizzy Nazzy, adding chilies to the pot. "That's where I keep my specialties." Then she shouted, "Open up!" Whoosh! The mask's great mouth flew open wide. Shelves of jars were inside, stuffed to bursting with teas. Teas for gashes, teas for rashes, teas for rickets, teas for crickets. Every jar was full of leaves except one. When the old woman saw that, her brow grew dark as thunder. "Ay, ay, ay!" she cried. "What's wrong?" asked Manuela from the cooking pot. Alice Nizzy Nazzy wailed, "The empty jar! I forgot! It must be filled with petals from the black cactus flower. Only its tea will keep me young. I've searched every arroyo and rimrock and draw. It's nowhere to be found." Her voice rose high and higher. Then she struck a match on her chin and lit the fire. The lizard groaned, "Ay, ay, ay!" Poor Manuela, all was lost, or was it? Suddenly she shouted out, "I know where the black cactus flower is!" The wicked old woman's eyes got big as sopapillas. Her mousetrap teeth champed. Her pointed feet stamped. The prickly pear fence tiptoed near to hear. The adobe stood stone still and listened. "Where?" she asked, leaning close. They were nearly nose to nose. The horned lizard whispered, "No digas, don't tell." "Hush, you bloated bag of scales," Alice Nizzy Nazzy railed. Then she sweetly hissed, "Where's the black cactus flower? You can tell Auntie Alice." "Only if you promise to give me my sheep." "I promise," Alice Nizzy Nazzy smirked, for it was a trick. She had crossed her fingers behind her back. "Ay, ay, ay!" the lizard groaned when it saw that. "It grows where my sheep graze," Manuela said. "I've seen it dozens of times." Where? "I'll take you there." Alice Nizzy Nazzy yanked Manuela from the pot. They leaped into a huge mortar and flew off swirling like a storm. Over mountains and mesas they soared. Alice shrieked all the time, "Soon the black cactus flower will be mine!" Manuela pointed the way up the canyon, steep and deep. "There!" she said at last as they swooped to the top of a cliff. Alice Nizzy Nazzy squinted her eyes small and smaller. She saw the prize. Growing on the very highest ledge was the black cactus flower. The mortar landed with a thump. The witch jumped out, dashed right up to the cactus, and ripped the magic flower off. Instantly, thunder clapped and clashed. Lightning slashed the sky, and all weathers happened at once. Oh my! Then, cackling a cackle that could gouge out gorges, she steered them home again. When they got there, Manuela said, "Now give me my flock." Alice Nizzy Nazzy grinned and popped her back into the pot. Oh my! By then, the water was getting hot. The lizard groaned, "Ay, ay, ay!" Manuela cried, "But you promised." "Sorry, my fingers were crossed." Alice Nizzy Nazzy stirred her stew. "Naughty children are so tasty," she said. She threw jacama and cilantro in too. Noisily, she took a taste. She puckered her face and spit it out. "You are a good child," she said with disgust. "Good children taste so sour." So Alice Nizzy Nazzy grabbed the magic flower, sprang into the mortar, and steered herself away to find a naughty child. "Hasta la vista," the horned lizard smiled. Manuela hopped out of the pot. And the sheep? The moment the old hag whirled off, her spell was broken. The dirty pillows became sheep again. They filled the adobe, buying and bleeding and bumping around. That was too much for the road-runner-footed hut. It bent over and dumped them all out. It ran off to find Alice Nizzy Nazzy. The prickly pear fence ran behind. Manuela was so glad to have her sheep. She hugged every single one. Then, with the horned lizard perched upon her head, she happily herded them home. The end.